All right, I think I've got everything set up now. Sorry about that. Took a little while. Had to make sure I got everything, configured before we got started here. I think we're good now. All right. So first off, let me say welcome to the lab, guys. On Saturday morning, I've got me a cup of coffee here. Let me move down my webcam and let me switch over to the live scene. All right. You guys should be able to see me pretty well now. Got my coffee this morning. Got the wiki up already over here on IT career questions. Some of the things I just it's actually kind of been a live stream I've been wanting to go about, and you guys may see my wife in the background. She's going to be playing Minecraft and doing some things on her stream. So, but this has actually been how do I put it? It's been a subject I've actually been wanting to talk about for some time, and it's IT careers, and I'm on the IT career questions a lot. I have a lot of people ask me things on Reddit, how I got into IT, what do I do to push myself forward, what are some different things I do to, keep myself up to date, and, there's just all these different questions. Well, a lot of times with people, when they come to me, they kind of ask, hey, well, how can I get into IT? What are some things, how do I get into it? What do I learn? And like, do I need certifications? Do I need education? Like, I hear about experience, and, there's actually a great resource. It's down in the description right now. It's this IT Career Questions Wiki, and there's also IT Career Questions YouTube. That guy is awesome. He has a bunch of great feedback. I'm kind of following his footsteps in a way you could say, and I kind of just want to talk about the different stuff of what we've got going on here, and the pros and cons of all the different the facets. The main three things, as I brought up earlier: education, certifications, and experience, and how those each can weigh into different options in different ways. So let's jump right in over here, guys. Left side of the screen, I've got the wiki up, and kind of goes broad, from the very top, and then kind of starts going in. So let's kind of start from the top view as we go in. So what is IT? All right. As you can see over here, at the most basic level, IT exists to help other people get their jobs done effectively and efficiently. That means IT is 100% a customer service role, from the greenest level 0 tech all the way up to the guy that's the CIO, maybe running all the technology, making decisions. IT is basically a customer service role. You will be dealing with people all the time, no matter what. It doesn't matter whether you're going to be dealing with a vendor, you're going to be dealing with a client. I mean, the roles where you don't interact with a human are far and in between. You're going to be dealing with someone a lot. And, the better that you're at with customer service, the better you're at, talking and, conversing with a fellow human, the better you're probably going to be with able to get a job done, and the faster you're going to be able to get it done. So, that as it says right there, it's a broad statement. So it's, we're going to break it down. We're going to kind of go over some stuff, right? So we're going to go over, IT, information technology versus computer science versus information science over here. So, or information systems, sorry. So here's, what we're going to be going over right here. So first off, we got computer science, which is coding, software development with a CS degree. You can get into almost any IT position, but a lot of times people that go into computer science usually head towards programming and doing development. Maybe they even go be a database administrator or something like that. Usually, maybe even goes software as a service, things like that, where they're actually developing and managing software or applications, or maybe anything in between like that. And if you like programming, you like databases, is that something that you truly enjoy? That may be a route to go for you. I know when I began first, I really enjoyed development, and I know when I was 16, 17, trying to get through high school, trying to figure out what I wanted to do, I actually looked at going to a university to get a computer science degree. And I kind of was like, yeah, I guess I wanted computer science. And so I got into computer science. I started doing some things, started, and then I realized that development really wasn't for me. It's funny that I say that, because currently right now that's all I'm basically doing is development. So it's kind of weird. In the beginning, I didn't really like development so much. Well, I did. I thought it was cool, but then I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it for the rest of my life. And I kind of jumped over to information systems, where I did like software support, and so like I would that's where help desk comes in. That's where like level 1, and or as some people call it, hell desk, but basically is I it's the software side of support. Basically, what that means is that it's often used like how do I put this? Like medical companies, things like that. Like there's a lot of people that are needed to basically make sure that systems are working. All right, and as it says right here, information systems equal the software side, support side of IT. And, it's not a management degree. All right. So like if you get a master's in information systems, it's not a management degree, but it's often offered through university's business school. Or management information systems, not people management, although the business courses are very useful if you do not want to eventually move into leadership. Information systems are collectively the large enterprise applications that run the back end of the company, like SAP, PeopleSoft, Oracle, Salesforce, NetSuite, etc. Professionals are often DBAs, scripting experts, business intelligence, or well-versed in statistical analytics. Analysts. You don't hear much about information systems since these are not things people do in their spare time or as a hobby, but are a very lucrative field to get into, and it will always have relatively high demand. So to give you an idea what that means is, those are the people that are in the background. Like I was saying, you'll have your computer scientists that may be writing, sorry, the computer science majors that are writing the code, things like that. But the information systems guys, they're the ones that are actually making sure that the software and the systems are working together. So you may have somebody with a computer science degree that's writing the software, all right, and making sure, but they just write it. It's not their job to make sure that the operating system is working, that things are actually working and communicating like they're supposed to. Business intelligence that they were talking about there. So there's a lot that goes into information systems, and as it said, it's not really talked about because information systems is not something people do in their hobby. I mean, I'm kind of getting into doing information systems more so because of the things of what I'm doing with my YouTube and the nature, and hosting servers. So like right now we've got 40 Skyrim Together servers for you, though. For those of you that don't know, if you actually go to intheshadow.com right now, it actually just goes to our Skyrim servers, and the logs are broke right now, but the point being is that we're actually using that to help us create a way to build a community, and then actually use kind of a way to help us learn things with coding. We're able to parse logs, we're able to figure out things, and so that kind of goes with the information systems aspect and what we're doing. And it's kind of become a hobby, but to be honest, like most of my information systems I learned has actually been in the field, so it's very interesting. All right, so let's move on to IT. Traditional information technology, all right, hardware support of IT, all right, the most common view of IT that most people have, all right, that's usually like if somebody says IT, this is what people think of, right? They think you're going in there, you're fixing the printer, you're fixing the monitor, you're taking care of something that hardware related. That's usually what people think when they think IT. All right, there's a huge variety of schooling you can get. You can get, like you can get a computer science degree. You can get information systems. You can get management information systems. You can get IT. You can get certifications. Traditional information technology is a very encompassing area. All right, and as it says right here, the more highly educated you are, the more opportunities you'll have, especially later in a career. But many people get by with no degree. Now, right there, that statement saying many people don't get by with a degree, it's actually true. I myself, I feel like I've gone pretty far, not completely wrong. I could just, I think I've done really well. Who knows? So I feel like I've done well with no degree. I also have no certs. I'll be right up front with that. Everything that I've done has been time in the seat. Tons of experience since probably basically like the age of about 14, calling up, the internet service provider, me like, hey, how does it, oh, I can't get internet to work, I can't get this to work, can't do that to work, and working with them to kind of build that, I guess build that passion. I mean, and that's where this is all actually stemmed from. I mean, everybody that's watching this or going to watch this, you're probably actually going to see that, a lot of this, the reason that we're here is because we're passionate about technology. And the other reason that we're here is we're passionate about people, and we want to actually help people understand what technology can do and how it can benefit not only ourselves, but benefit those around us. And, if you actually go to my LinkedIn, you'll see I'm trying to help people realize how technology can be an innovative part and really drive a positive world around us. Technology doesn't have to be bad at all. All right, so there's so much you can do with technology. All right, so let's get down below. We're going to start breaking down IT. All right, IT broken down. Since about 80% of the audience here, basically, even on my YouTube channel, is basically interested in IT. Anybody who's coming IT career questions, most likely is interested in IT. They're probably not really interested in computer science or management of information systems. With that being said, all right, there's several branches of IT. All right, and I don't know how to. I guess I don't know how to like exactly how I want to go about doing this, but I kind of going to probably use what they have here. I'm just going to add in my own little spice and let you guys know how I feel on each part. So let's break it down. All right, so we've got help desk, systems administration, networking, storage engineers, all right, security, business analysts, analytics and business intelligence, and leadership. All right, now I'm almost certain there's a much broader view. There's probably a lot more stuff going on than just that. I'm sure there is, if you really wanted to get technical and break it down. But for the most part, a lot of the jobs of what's done and how it's handled is actually broken down into one of these groups. All right, so help desk and service desk, the most standard entry level position into IT. All right, these are the frontline foot soldiers. These guys are the guys that are usually out in the field. They're the ones who usually make primary contact. An ER comes in, a ticket comes in. They're the ones that are reaching out and saying, "Hey, what's going on? Can I get some information? Do you want me to get on site?" They're the ones that are usually out there trying to get things done. All right. And as it says right here, it might be over phone, it might be in person, it might be web-based, but these are the first people that usually the user interacts with when they're having a problem. So there's a lot of times that a user will go ahead and just send in a support ticket right over to your, they'll just email it in. So a lot of times then it goes in, it gets emailed, dispatch will go and grab it, and they just assign it to, and you're the first person to really make contact with that end user to really talk to them about what's going on. So you have to get that information. Now, there is the times, and I love when this happens. I like when, dispatch gets a call from an end user, and when the end user is trying to put in a ticket, dispatch takes down a bunch of information, so that way when it gets over to you, it makes it much easier to actually work the ticket, which is great, but it doesn't always happen like that. So a lot of times, help desk and service desks are your first line of defense. They're the people that are grabbing all the information, because guess what? If help desk is not sure that they can solve the problem, or they believe that it's a networking or a systems issue, or another issue, that's what help desk is there for. They're be able to evaluate the issue, resolve it themselves, or move it to the proper channel so it can get done and resolved. All right. So let's go on to the next part, systems administrator. Right. These are the guys that are in the background. All right, they're the ones that manage the servers and the backend machines. They used to be the primary basis, all right, in any IT building basically, but they're slowly being phased out of local offices and into data centers as servers are more and more likely to be remote or cloud-based. So as time is going on, guys, a lot of people are moving to what they call hybrid environments. So we're moving towards actually having a little bit of on-prem and a little bit either in AWS or Azure, and that's happening a lot now. I mean, I can't tell you, there's probably been over 100 Office 365 hybrid installations I've done in the last 2 years, where we're going in, we're setting up Exchange, getting it all ready, and then putting it into hybrid mode with, Office 365. So that way, basically, if Exchange were to go down or Office 365 were to have an issue, they're still going to get emails. It's still going to go through there. And that's one of the things that's kind of happening, is that system administration is starting to get smaller and smaller and smaller as more things are going to the cloud. Now, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, I should say, in internal IT. That doesn't mean that it's changing for data centers or anything else. It's actually growing, I should say, much more, because MSPs and things like that and IT companies are actually looking for these guys that can go out there and manage not only one environment, but can actually manage several environments, be able to go from 10, 20 different environments in a single day, and that's what they're kind of looking for in these hybrid and data center-like environments. So this, as it says right here, the number of on-site admins is slowly dropping. All right, and this, as it says right here, this encompasses subspecialties such as DBAs, backup admins, AD admins. The larger the company, the more specific roles can be. So as you get a larger company, some of them maybe have somebody that all they do is Active Directory all day, each and every day, or they have just Exchange guys, things like that. Well, those guys are becoming less and less and less, as now we're starting to outsource more to MSPs, and things are now starting to go more into the cloud, and things are starting to be more automated and more self-controlled and easier for the layman to go in and control. I mean, Office 365 has basically changed the game for small businesses, I feel like. So I could be wrong though, just how I feel and what I've been seeing over here, in San Antonio. So I'm gonna take a drink real quick and then we'll move on to the next part. Okay. Networking. So networking, these are the people that manage the servers. Sorry, these are the people that keep communications and running so machines can talk to each other, right? So a lot of people love networking. Networking's actually where I started. Back in the day, this is going to sound real funny. Back in the day, I was playing like EverQuest Online Adventures on the PlayStation 2, and I was also playing Monster Hunter back on the PlayStation 2, and we'd always have issues with our internet, and this is DSL. This is way back in the day when we had like 5 down and like 768 kilobytes up or something like that, or 3 down. It was, but besides the point, I'd always have to call in over to our internet service provider and be like, hey, so what's going on? And I'd have to work with him. And I remember doing my first like IP configs back in the day, and like setting up and doing things, being able to like figure out, and that kind of started my passion into everything. Like I really, that really grew, and I started getting more into networking. I remember getting my first little hub. I know hub, gross. I remember getting for my first switch, and then getting my first managed switch. It's very it kind of just built up from there. It's when I look back, it's very cool to see that me just calling my internet service provider turned into something. Now this where I'm basically all I'm doing every day is messing with technology, working with technology, and learning skills and building a network of people and other people that are like-minded, and it's fantastic. So networking is those are the guys that are in the background. They're the ones that you got a switch, you got a firewall, you need a route, you need a points point, you need SD-WAN. They're the guys that are making sure that all of your systems can interconnect, can talk to each other, can work together, are happy. You can be able to transfer files, be able to do everything securely, and not have to worry about anything happening. And then also not having internet. All right, now storage engineers, I kind of pull that underneath systems administration, that to me, but larger organizations, depending on what's going on, sometimes they'll have people that all they do is mess with the shared storage all day, every day. All they do is take care of snapshots, they take care of, LUNs and take care of vvols and all of that. All they do is they make sure that, hey, can we actually do this? Can we, they just basically they're cleaning up space all day. They're making sure that there's enough space in that, in those automated environments whenever snapshots are failing and things like that, or, if there's a backup service or something that's going on, that's what they're kind of making sure is that storage is working, all right? And as it says here, usually this means large NAS devices like NetApps or large SAN devices like EMC, and there's so many more. There's Nimble, there's MSAs from HPE, Dell EMCs, there's 3PAR, the list goes on with the different types of storage rates. You got Synology, so FreeNAS, there's so many different things. So, but to me, storage engineers more so go underneath system administration. It kind of could be like systems engineering, I guess, in a way, if you want to call it that, if you really wanted to get all technical. But after that, let's get into security, all right? So security, a hot but difficult area to get into. So it seems like, over the last probably 8 to 9 years, everybody's been wanting to get into cybersecurity. Everybody's like, ooh, cybersecurity, yeah. Which, don't get me wrong, cybersecurity is pretty cool. It's pretty awesome, but at the same time, I don't know, it's one of those ones that, you really, really, really need to be an expert. You really need to know your stuff. You really need to know how to talk the talk, walk the walk, and and most of the time, in one of the other above areas, you're gonna be basically an expert. I mean, it says right here. So, you ideally need to be an expert at least in one of the above mentioned areas, as well as heavy exposure to all of them. Security is not an entry-level position. Most security experts have at least 10 years of prior experience in systems administration, networking, programming, or information systems. All right. Your very best bet for making security or expertise out of the gate is to leave the military with security clearance. That's the other thing with security, is that a lot of places I've had several job offers where they're like, hey, we got this job, but you got to have security clearance, and I'm like, well, that doesn't, no, I don't have it. So, and it makes it very hard to get it. But once you've got 10 years of experience, underneath your belt for system administration, networking, something like that, you could actually go ahead and try to maybe search for a job or find a job that would allow you, or maybe sponsor you to get your security clearance, that would allow you to work your way up and get into that role. But as I was saying before, it's a hot top. It's a hot job. It's a hot career. You make 6 figures. You can make great money. But as I said, it's hard to get into. It's one of those things that it all just depends. Some people get luck of the draw, and if you're ex-military, if you're in the military right now, looking into security, especially if you did IT in the military, is something really good to get into. You can get out of the military, and really start making good money and still be able to do things that you love and have a passion for. All right, so let's go on to the next one, business analyst. All right, now, business analyst, this is an interesting one that I'm actually surprised that they kind of have it on here, and it makes sense though. So business analysts, these are the people that are kind of in between. They're in between IT and they're in between business. All right, they're the guys that, as it says right there, they act as the translators and should understand the needs and limitations of each side. So when marketing needs a new authoring tool, for example, the BA understands that they're asking for is what they really need, and will be able to convey these needs to the IT group that they will provide and often pay for the solution. So there's a lot of need for, you have these other people that don't really know IT, but their skill sets are somewhere else. So what happens is you bring in usually a business analyst or someone that actually knows, or like a sales engineer or solutions engineer, or someone that actually knows, and can actually translate what the business people are wanting over to the IT group, or vice versa. Maybe the IT group is wanting something translated over the business people, so the business people can then understand what needs to get done and how it needs to get done. So that's a big deal, and I understand why they have it in here. It honestly never really crossed my mind as something that is in IT, but it's actually a big need, and that goes back all the way up to the top of what I was talking about with customer service. All right, business analysts. It's a big deal with customer service, all right? So you're going to be dealing with customers all the time, clients all the time, and you're going to be going in between, the client and maybe even your own team, trying to make sure that both teams are on the same page, that you guys aren't missing anything, no T's aren't crossed, no I's aren't dotted, because the last thing you want is drop the ball, because in reality, what's going to happen is you as the business analyst, that's going to be on you. That's not going to be on anybody else. That's going to be on you because you were the one translating. So that makes sense, why it's on here. I like that. And it's really good in... a lot of people don't think about that a translator for IT, but it is something that is actually needed, and a very good job. All right, so let's move on. Analytics and business intelligence, a growing specialty within IT. These are the people that can extract or display useful subsets from vast amounts of information. Sometimes they take action on data. Sometimes they just present it to decision makers. If they're good at statistics, this is a great field to consider. So this is kind of where I'm actually trying to go more so myself. I've really been working my way more into business intelligence, and that's actually where that actually goes back into what I said earlier. I'm getting more into development and programming and database design, and that's actually all because of business intelligence. I've way back in the day, I actually worked with the Chicago Department of Public Health to create a inventory management system that kind of tracked things, and that kind of, I guess, I didn't realize how much it actually had impacted me at the time, but now I realize, like, I love the fact of how much data there was and what we could do and what we could see, and see what was where, how it was moved, who moved what, who did what. I just think that's really cool, being able to extract that data and be able to then point it out and say, hey, we can save X amount of money here if instead of us ordering this, we did this and sent them here like this. So it's really cool being able to see that data and make a pattern and find a way to save money and also grow a business. And to me, that's where I feel like IT is really heading, is the automation and business intelligence and using data, for building a business, because there's so much data out there. There's so much we can collect that we can use to drive patterns, drive business, and really grow not only ourselves, not only our own businesses, but those clients that we work for. All right, there's plenty of case in point right now is I'm doing a lot of things with Power Apps. Actually, we've got a lot of awesome stuff where we're doing asset and inventory management with Power Apps, and what we're doing is all of that information is being shared or stored in a SharePoint list. All right, so I'm creating these Power Apps. They're just saving in a SharePoint list as a little database. Well, then we're going ahead and we're using Power BI to create a basic kind of reporting end over all the data that's in the SharePoint database, and we're able to create formulas and such. And so we're actually able to basically find out, what are some of the costs that we're having here, how often is an asset being transferred or an I being transferred, how often is it being repaired. Some things that were very hard to track before are now being tracked, and at the click of a button they can have that report on that asset or that inventory item and say, oh, whoa, okay. And that's all about business intelligence, and that's what that is. That's that 1,000-foot, that 30,000-foot view of being able to know everything that's going on, and that's what business intelligence and analytics provide. And to be honest, it's been my passion lately. I've really been enjoying using data and using basically patterns to help businesses grow, and I kind of want to keep going that way. But the one right after this is another thing I want to get into. And that's leadership. And, as contrary to the opinion of many, technical leaders generally do have a solid technical background and mostly rise up through the ranks of technical positions. All right. And I can tell you that right now that the people at my job and the people that are above me, that are my managers and my directors, have that experience. They were all in my position at once before. They were all worked their way up. They all became, they got their position because they fought in the trenches. They worked their way up from field and help desk, and now 7, 8 years later, they're the director, they're the manager. It's really fantastic when you're stuck somewhere, you're not sure what you need to know, but you're able to go and actually brainstorm with these directors or these managers and be able to figure out, hey, is there a solution for this? And this is kind of one of the things that I've been trying to do, not only at my my career, but also with my YouTube channel and my family and everything else, is actually being a leader, because being a leader is a big deal. In addition to being the boss, technical leaders act as mediators, mentors, financial analysts, negotiators, strategic analysts, cheerleaders, and just about everything else mentioned above. It's a valid career path for those who are interested, and this is where those business classes you thought you'd never use will come in very handy. So those of you that actually got a degree, did all of that, those business classes are going to come very handy if you want to do leadership. All right, and leadership is it's a big deal because it's interesting. Leadership is not something that's given. It's not something that's taught, something like that. It's something that's learned. Not everybody can be a leader. Not everybody, just because you're in a position of power doesn't make you a leader. All right, leadership comes from being able to value, realize what people are worth, being able to put in that, and being able to lead them to make them greater than yourselves. So there's a few things I want to talk about real quick on leadership, actually. So hold on, I want to bring up some real quick 5 points that I had a mentor kind of talk to me about. And leadership to me is, this is what you should be able to do. You should be able to show up with a sense of purpose and believe that you can make a positive impact. And if you can show up with a sense of purpose and believe that you can make a positive impact, I promise you the people below you will believe that they can make a positive impact, and they will have a belief that they have a purpose. All right. The next one is act empowered. Don't steamroll. All right. Don't steamroll. Don't act cocky. What I mean by act empowered is, go in and be confident within yourself, but at the same time, value ROI. And, ROI, you're probably hearing me say ROI right now. You're probably thinking, return on investment, but that's not what I'm saying. Relationships over issues, all right? One of the things you need to do is you need to go in and act empowered, but at the same time, you need to be vulnerable enough to be able to take a stance and say, you know what, I was probably wrong. You know what, you're right. That's what you need to be able to value, is relationships over issues. You're not always going to be right. You're not always going to have the right answer, but you know what? Go in there, act empowered, be vulnerable, grow as a team. That's what it's about. All right. Third one, never make excuses. Get to the real root cause and ask why. All right. If there's an issue going on, my mom taught me something a long, long time ago. It's called the 5 whys. You can look it up on YouTube, but if you ask why 5 times, most of the time you can figure out what the issue was, and about 99% of the time, it's usually a human error. All right. If you do the 5 whys, it usually can lead back to a human error. And now, that's nothing bad. There's nothing wrong with it being a human error. Sorry, I shouldn't say it's a human error. It's a teachable moment. All right, it's a learning experience, and that's what it's about. That's what you need to be able to tell people and show people, and ask them. The reason you ask the 5 whys is not to punish, is not to make them feel bad, to not make them feel terrible, to not put them down. The reason you're asking the 5 whys is to help build them up. So you don't go in there and saying, how did you do this? No, why? You don't go in there with that tone. You go in there and say, hey, what's going on? Why do you think this happened? Well, do you know why that happened? Well, do you think this happened because of this? And start asking a question, but don't berate, don't talk down to, and I promise you can help them then learn. And that's what it's about. If you can find somebody that's coachable, be their coach, be their mentor. A lot of people in life are afraid to admit that they want to learn, that they need somebody to mentor. So a lot of times they just kind of find someone that's willing to mentor them, and they learn. So if you're willing to be that person, you could truly teach someone something great. All right, so never make excuses. Always ask why. Keep asking why until you figure out the reason and grow from it. That's what it's about. Number 4, have a future vision, all right? Then work backwards from that to ensure daily goals and objectives are prioritized to move closer to that vision. What that means is have an idea of what you want. And that doesn't mean that you have to have an idea of 5, 10, 15 years from now. You can have an idea of what you want a week from now, a day from now, a month from now. But the thing is like, have a future vision. Have an idea. Close your eyes, think about it, really think what you want, and have that future vision, not only of yourself, maybe of your business, of your company, of your family, of your friends, and work backwards from that. Work backwards from that vision to really ensure your daily objectives, your goals, and things like that are prioritized, and make sure you're actually getting to that, because there's plenty of people that work hard and train hard and do things, but you got to have a vision. You can't just do everything and not have a vision. So really have a future vision and work towards it. All right. And last not least, number 5 is to vet fast. All right. Learn what is most critical to make something successful and work that item first. Okay. So that means if you're setting something up and everything hinges on this one piece, work that part first. Get it done. Vet it fast. Get it working. And once you have that one most hardest part working, you can start getting everything else done. And I promise you'll get it done faster. All right. And all in all, make sure you're always having fun as a team doing this. All right, these five things that I just talked about should always be done as a team. Okay, and that's what really will drive success. Is if you can come in there as a team and you can practice those 5 things and really push each other. All right, and really value your relationship over any issues that you have between each other. All right, so let's jump in now. I'm done with my whole leadership thing. I'm done with that. All right, let's talk about getting into IT. All right, in IT, employers will be looking for many things. Okay, that we were talking about the different aspects of IT. We were talking about everything up here about what is IT. All right, the three different parts, and then some other different IT broken down. So now we're going to be talking about how you can get into IT. Okay. In IT, employers will be looking for many things. However, those things typically fall into the categories of experience, education, and certifications. I said this earlier. I said it probably about 10, 15 minutes ago, is that those are the three things that everybody looks for: experience, education, and certifications. Now, experience is the most important, and the reason being is because people want to know your experience. They want to know that you're capable of doing it, just that you're not just book smart. Now, this is where it becomes interesting, is because a lot of times you can't explain your experience without having your foot in the door. So it's very hard to tell someone, yeah, I know how to do Active Directory. Yeah, I know how to work Exchange. Yeah, I can set up SQL procedures. That's not an issue. Yeah, I can write a PowerShell script. We can go ahead and, remove subfolders. Yeah, there's that all happens. And that's all great, but you can't really express that. You can't tell somebody you're capable of doing it, usually without an education or certification. And that's kind of what it talks about here is, your education certifications are what get you into the interview so that you can explain your experience. So if you have certifications, you have an education, you have a degree, that's great. That's what's probably going to get you foot in the door, all right? But to be honest, and I hate to be that guy, there's a lot of times that businesses will take somebody with 3, 4, 5 years experience over somebody with a degree and 1 year experience or no experience. And the reason being is that experience, especially in IT, is very valuable. Time in the seat is very, very valuable. Being able to know that someone is capable in knowing what they talk about when inside a virtualized environment, with being able to work with data stores or moving, re-registering VMs, there's a lot that can happen there, and that experience is vital. But having all three are very important. Okay, as I said before, I don't have a degree, I don't have certs. I lucked out. I was able to find a job that has given me many chances and has let me rise up and has really embraced what my passion. Not everybody gets that, so you got to really find that career. You got to find that place that lets you do what you want to do. But the thing is that you need to really work towards all three. You got to get that experience, you got to get those certifications, you got to get that education. All right. To get experience can be difficult when starting off. How can you get experience with no experience? Employers will be willing to take a chance on you if you have certs or degrees, but there's nothing stopping you from getting experience on your own. All right. Offer to fix friends and family's computer, build a home lab and set up your own domain, servers, VMware, network, volunteer to a nonprofit that needs technical help, get good enough that you can throw it on your resume. Now you have experience. So I'm going to step back a little bit. The whole home lab thing, that is a big deal. I can't stress enough. There's so many times I basically just almost want to yell at the people in the Reddit community. Lab every day. Every day you can. Every time you have any free time, lab. The reason being is that labbing allows you to build your skill sets. It allows you to, it's like working a muscle. If you keep working that muscle out every single day, it's going to get better. It's going to improve. And that's what labbing does, is it works out your skill sets, your technical skill sets, and it allows you to build up. I've got plenty of videos all over my YouTube right now that basically teach you a lot of things about enterprise technology. And, the reason I'm doing this is because I want people to be able to find their way in and be able to get in, because I was there once. I wasn't sure how to get in and what to do, and I had a passion for technology, and I love it still to this day, and I just wasn't sure what I needed to do to get in. And what kind of started it all was I found our home labs probably long time ago, but whole point being is that I found home labs and I started just kind of building my own. I mean, it first started out with I have a Mac Pro back behind me, an old Mac Pro, 2009 Mac Pro. That was one of my very first hosts with dual Xeons and like 16 gigs RAM and 4 1TB drives and all local storage. Just kind of messing around with it, kind of learning things. Built my first Active Directories on that. Started learning DNS. Built my first Exchange server on that. So an SQL server. So that's what it's about. You go ahead and you start building a lab, you start building upon it, you learn things, and to me, that's the best way to get experience. Because there's been plenty of times that I've talked to people, and I bring up my lab, and they're like, "Whoa, like you act," and I'm like, "Yeah." So it's a great way to be able to talk about your experience. Plus, depending on as it says there, what you do, you may be able to put it on your resume, depending on actually what's there. So I don't put my lab on my resume. However, I do put my YouTube channel on my resume because I feel like it kind of is a portfolio in a way. All right. So let's go down, all right? a few options that are really easy. Okay, look, so they already have right here in the description of the video. I already have here's this link here to where you guys can get these things. There's the Amazon Web Services. All right, there's a free option allows you to spin up Windows, Linux, or SQL servers with ease. It's free for a year as well. So basically, if you want to learn something, say you don't have the hardware, you don't have the capabilities, boom, right here in the Wikipedia, or sorry, in the Wiki on the index page, on IT career questions, right there, Amazon Web Services, boom. You can set up a real quick thing. You can have some fun, start learning some stuff. That's a real easy way to start getting experience and having a little lab, even if it's just up in the cloud. Next one, VMware. All right, so I love VMware. All right, so VMware, they have a free hypervisor. All right, you can also go ahead and build a pretty solid host for under $500. You can buy licensing if you want to. But there's other free hypervisors out there. There's Proxmox, there's Zen servers. So I mean, just look at there's Kubernetes, there's Docker. So there's plenty of hypervisors out there that you can look at and what you want to do and what you want to use. So just come over here to the Wikipedia page, kind of look over some of these links, figure out what works best for you. If you got hardware, look into VMware. As it says right here, if you're a student and you have access to a .edu email, you can download all Microsoft products for free for testing. Right here at DreamSpark, boom, that's a big deal. All right, so if you have a .edu email, you can download all of them and be able to use everything in a lab for free. It's great for using it, and to be honest, it's awesome because then instead of like paying for an MSDN, you get all that, and you can go ahead and start messing with things. You can set up Exchange, SQL, RDS. There's just so much that you can learn by just signing up at DreamSpark if you're a student. All right, and then now down to this next part is the GNS3. It's all right. This is a pretty cool tool. It allows you to basically simulate Cisco networking and setups, and as long as you have iOS for the router. All right, and it's just cool because it allows you to kind of get into networking, kind of learn things, and kind of get your feet wet and start, trying to figure out some different ideas of what you want to do. There's a lot of people who love networking. I love networking. It's really cool being able to make things talk and tag and basically control how stuff communicates. I think that's really awesome. So if you're really interested in networking, this is a great tool to get into and kind of mess around with. All right, and there's plenty of other options. Like it says right here, there's plenty of other options for learning, for self-learning. However, AWS and Vmware are hot right now. So by using them to play with and learn Windows or Linux, for example, you can also get experience with those platforms, which could come in handy. So go up to AWS, sign up, get that free thing, mess with it. The other one that's really hot right now is Azure. Don't be afraid to get in there and sign up, maybe do a little free trial, 30-day trial of some things, mess around. Power Apps are a big deal right now. Azure AD, hybrid environments, Office 365, that's all a huge thing right now. So really take a look at it, really think about it. It could really, I think you'd be surprised what you can learn from it. So let's keep going on. Hold on, I'm going to get some coffee real quick. So if you're getting into IT, one of the things like right said here, so you want to focus on and take on roles that will allow you to gain experience and learn new skills that are going to increase your education and add value to what you want to do. All right. If it's your first job in IT, don't really worry about pay. Focus on getting a role where you can learn a ton and put a lot on your resume. That's what it's about. All right. It's about resume building first. Yeah, everybody wants to make money. That's great. But I'm going to be honest. If you're in IT to make money, you're probably not going to go that far because IT really requires a passion. It really requires a drive. You've got to stay on top of everything. You've got to want to learn new things. You've got to want to not only build yourself up, but watch others grow with you. Because the way that as you get more and more in IT, you're going to continue specializing. You're going to get so specialized, you're not going to know everything. It's just impossible. So you're going to have to talk and communicate with others to get an understanding of what maybe they specialized in and how they can help you maybe better yourself and maybe understand something that you didn't. So that's one of those things you need to really make sure of, is that you're focusing on getting a role that's more about putting things on your resume and really building yourself. Money's going to come if you're passionate about it, promise you. All right, let's get on down to education. Okay, is a degree worth it? Yes, absolutely. A bachelor's degree will almost benefit you in every way in the long run. I promise you. You want to rise up fast? If you have a passion and a bachelor's degree, all right, and you get certificates, man, you'll rise up so fast. If you could find companies that will just eat you up, they'll throw money at you. As I was saying before, if you're worried about money, that you'll love it. All right, having that degree gives you more flexibility as you move between different areas into IT. Employers will be more willing to take a chance on those with a degree than those without. You also have a much stronger foundation of knowledge, which will allow you to learn new technologies faster and overall be better at your job. This is not saying you can't be successful in IT without a degree, but it is less risk averse route. Now, I don't have a degree. I don't have certs, as I've said multiple times. It's worked out for me so well. Well, I did go to college for about a year and a half. Just didn't wasn't my thing. So it's worked out for me. But everybody's got their own story. Everybody's got their own path. So if yours is taking you down education, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. All right, go ahead, get your degree, get your certificates, but at the same time, get your experience. Make sure that you're constantly learning on all three fronts. All right, let's get into what types of degree. The most versatile option is a computer science degree, as we talked up above. All right, it kind of lets you kind of do everything in IT, including programming. All right, keep in mind this does not mean you have to be a programmer. Okay, it just in the comp science curriculum is stating you're going to have a strong foundation of computers works, hardware, software, and stuff like that, but you'll also have a strong foundation of programming. I did computer science, and like I said, I went for a year and a half, and during that time I did take a couple programming classes for my computer science degree. So that will happen. All right. But as it says right here, learning a program teaches you logic, and that's one of the great things about the comp science degree is that it will help you learn how to solve things and maybe how a flow of things. I mean, one of the things that with networking is understanding the OSI model and things like that, understanding, how are things traversed, what layers and things, and it really helps when you understand that because logically you'll be able to break down an issue and be able to solve it much faster. All right, sorry, could take a whew. It's been a long string, Not really. It's a lot of talking on my part. All right, so there'll be other degrees available: security, MIS, CIS. None of these are the wrong choice. All right, a tech degree is a tech degree. Most STEM degrees would work just as well, especially anything around hard sciences or math. Have an unrelated degree like teaching or like psychology, no worries. That also counts as having a degree for most places because. But XYD, right here, XYD doesn't train me to be an IT worker. Correct. Universities are not vocational schools. Bachelor's curriculums do not teach you things specifically to get IT certs or do traditional IT role per se. It doesn't necessarily teach you how to install and troubleshoot Windows. Rather, the intent is to give you a broad and basic foundation education on which you will build your career knowledge and experience. All right. It will teach you how to think logically and how computers work down to the hardware level. This will help you in any IT role. If you go to university route as a result of not getting traditional training or experience, you must get some experience and /certs while in school. This is why getting an internship before you graduate is extremely important. Then once you graduate, you have a degree and some relative experience. Getting the job will be easy. And if on top of that you can throw in some certs, whew, you'll be eaten up right out of graduation. All right, it's not a bad idea to get a cert or two, just as I was saying. If you have the extra time in school, I'm not saying don't party, I'm not saying don't have fun, but I promise you, if you invest in your future early, it'll be worth it in the end. So just think about that. All right, what about an associate's degree? Nothing wrong with this path, but understand that it isn't a bachelor's degree. So it won't do much for you in the job search. However, you should be able to put it towards a bachelor's degree at some point. And that's key because there are some companies out there that will actually pay for you to go back to school. They'll actually pay for you to go ahead and get a degree inside the technology realm if it's going to better them. Because at the same time, you may be able to get certs and do other things. And the reality of it is that if the business pays for you to go get that, it will help them out in the long run. So a lot of businesses, if you have an associate's degree, you may be able to negotiate. Hey, would you guys be able to maybe help me out and help me out with getting back into school, finishing up my bachelor's? It's always something you could bring up. All right, what about online programs? Nothing wrong with this path either. All right, most brick and mortar universities now have online programs as well. Look right here, they have a link. Go ahead, check that out. Right. What if I can't afford it? All right, so not everyone can. But remember, the less money you have, the more assistance you'll get for school, okay? So talk to the financial aid department, whatever school you're interested in, to see what options you have. But even so, not everyone wants to go into debt. I was one of those people. I know plenty of people that just didn't want to go into debt. Remember that there are many paths into IT. Instead of a degree first, you could get some certs and experience first, then look towards getting a degree once you're making money. Maybe you can find a company that will pay for your tuition or part of it. So one of the things you could do is, like I was saying earlier, maybe you're in high school right now. Maybe you're 16, 17 years old. You're not sure if you want to go to college. You're not sure what you want to do with your life. There's no reason, if you've got a passion for technology and gaming right now, that you can't already start building a home lab, start getting a cert or two. And as soon as you graduate at 18, go ahead and get a job, start making 40, 50K a year, maybe a little less. Who knows? It all depends how passionate you get into it. And, then once you start making some money, go back into school and really start broadening yourself. There's really no wrong way of getting into IT. Just the biggest thing is keep pushing yourself, keep learning. As soon as you stop learning, you're really not living. I mean, you got to learn something new every day. If you don't, you didn't really live that day. That's just my take on it. All right. So going back to uh, all right, so going back to, remember that there are many paths in IT. Instead of a degree first, you can get some certs and some experience first. They're looking towards getting a degree. That's what we just talked about. Maybe you can even find a company, as I already talked about. Sorry, is it bad if I just get certs and no degree? No, just keep in mind this may hurt you later in your career and restrict the number of positions you have access to. All right, but if you have strong skills and a lot of experience, there should be no reason you can't be successful and have a long career. And at the beginning of a career, the degree will hurt you less. But for more technical areas such as security or management roles, they may be looking for someone with a degree. It would suck to reach a ceiling later in your career and wish you could have gone back and got a degree. So if you don't have one, try to grab one, maybe online at some point to give yourself better options at you get deeper in your career. Think of it as in career insurance. So that's the best way to kind of I could probably sum it up is that you don't need it, but it's not it's not bad to have. It's kind of like insurance. So maybe you can go ahead, like I was saying, get a job and start building towards it. Take some online classes. Boom. That's how you can get a degree and work your way through that. All right. So let's move on down on to internships. All right. Note, in the U.S., technical internships should always be paid positions. All right. If a company is offering an unpaid position, they're likely doing it illegally. Here are the criteria for offering an unpaid internship. Almost no technical internships meet these. All right, so just so you guys know, technical internships, technical in the way that they handle, you know, technical pay and like technical working is very interesting. So I recommend coming over here, take a look at this, read into it, make sure you know that if you're wanting to get an internship, yeah, you make it onto an unpaid internship or something from your friends or family. That's whatever. But if there's somebody that's an actual company reaching out trying to give it to you, make sure that that you have a paid position because it should be. All right, the second most important thing you can do aside from getting a degree is doing an internship before you graduate. So say you're on that path to the degree, maybe it's your second, third year. There's no reason you can't go to one of your professors that you've already created that bond with, that relationship with, that you've networked with. There's no reason you can't go to them and say, hey, you have an internship. Do you know any companies? Do you know any other universities? Do you know anything that needs somebody? And you'd be surprised. They could probably find you something 9 times out of 10 that can get your foot in the door and really help you become the IT professional that you see yourself being. So don't be afraid to go ahead and ask your professors, ask people around there. All right, not having experience when you graduate will affect your chance of getting a job. It severely will. So I can't recommend enough. Even if you just go work at, like I was saying up there earlier, if you just go volunteer at a non-for-profit. All right, get good enough while you're going to school. Go volunteer at a non-for-profit. Help them out. Help out an animal shelter. Help them out with all their technology. If you get good enough at it, you know what? They'll probably be nice enough and let you put them down on the resume and even be a reference for you. So that's another way. It doesn't always have to be paid. You can go there and say, hey, I want to volunteer to take your guys, your IT. If I do good for you over this next year, maybe we can work something out to get on my resume. That's experience. All right. What if my school doesn't offer an intern program? Do one anyway. Even if you have to take the semester off, there's no need to go through your school. Like I was saying, there's plenty of companies. There's so many different ways. Talk to your professors. Just because the school doesn't have an internship doesn't mean that you're screwed. You can go and have an internship at so many other places. All right. So don't be afraid to put your feelers out there. You know what? Maybe you even have to move. Maybe you got to uproot, but don't be afraid to because it can really grow who you are in your career. All right. What if I don't have time to work and go to school at the same time? Odds are they're high that you do. Don't use this as an excuse. If you legitimately don't have the time for some reason, like you're a carrier for a dying relative, be prepared to explain why during a job interview. Because so imagine going to a job interview, getting a job, and they're like, hey, we want you to go ahead and you need to go ahead and get all this stuff done, and we want to also pay for you to do this. Imagine you'd be like, well, I don't have time for that. Well, most likely you do. I mean, there are certain circumstances where you have relatives, you have family, you have outside engagements, but let's all be real. I mean, we probably do have the time, and if a company was asking us to really improve ourselves and was paying for it, I'm pretty sure most of us probably would. Having a job will affect my grades. Not having experience when you graduate will affect your chance of getting a job. Choose your priorities carefully. So I'm going to be honest, all right? I don't think my GPA has ever been asked for, ever. Yeah, no, it hasn't. And I don't really know anybody that has had their GPA asked for IT. Like, oh, you graduated, what was your GPA? I'm going to be honest right now, they're going to be more worried about what was your experience, what have you done, any cool projects, have you worked on anything interesting, what's your favorite part of technology? They're not going to really worry about your grades, promise you. Now, if you're worried about your grades, that's fantastic. I'm not saying don't worry about your grades. I'm just going to let you know that your GPA is not really going to be a big factor in your IT career. It never has been for me, and I don't see it being. All right, when should I do an internship? The best time to do an internship is junior, and senior year. Just as I was saying, third and fourth year, maybe fifth, depending on, some people are fifth year seniors. It happens. All right, there's no reason not to do multiple internships either. One during junior year, one during senior year, maybe even one during your fifth senior year. But the whole point being is that there's no reason you can't do multiple. You can't do multiple internships. There's just not. That experience it's a big deal. It really is. All right. Now, right here, where do I even look for an internship? Go to the Wikipedia page in the description of the video. Look right here. If there's places you're trying to look for, hey, I need an internship. I need it, and you don't have anybody to ask. Maybe you don't know, you're not in school or anything like that. Take a look at these. But like I said, if you're in school, go take a look at your school first. Make sure your school's got. I promise you, usually a professor will help you out. They're usually pretty awesome about that. All right, certs. What certs should I get? All right, there's a ton of certs out there, right? What I usually recommend is for, I'm reading right here, so this is actually, usually recommended is whatever job you're looking to achieve. Browse the job boards and see what you're looking for in your area, because what is in demand is always changing. If you're looking for entry-level jobs and most of the positions are looking for A+ and Net+ certs, then get those. If you're in the security field and looking for jobs and you want jobs looking for a CIS, get that. All certs are beneficial, but it really depends on where you are in your career and what jobs you're looking for. So this goes into what I was talking about earlier. You start to specialize. You really start to specialize. It's kind of like with PhDs and things like that. You really specialize into a part of IT to where that is what you do. And like I was saying, you're going to have to go talk to others because they specialized in different areas. And what's going to happen is when you all come together as a team, that's what really makes the powerful, giant engineering corporations that we see that are doing all this IT work, is because they have all these people that are so specialized in all these different areas, and they are all able to come together, and they value their relationships over any issues they have with each other. They're able to come together and create something great, and it's remarkable that they're able to do that. All right, so if you're just starting out, I would start with the basics like the ones from CompTIA, A+, N+, Sec+, many entry levels roles ask for these. A lot of times, if basically you get your A+ and N+, and you have no experience, you could probably get your foot in the door at a lot of places as help desk or as field service tech, and be able to get in, and that builds you up. That's a great way to build up and get in. And those sorts are very easy to study for online. There's plenty of material everywhere, all over online. There's plenty of YouTube videos. I mean, it's everywhere for the CompTIA stuff. So it's a very easy way to get your foot in the door. This also provides you, like it says right here, it also provides you a good foundation. If you want to play it safe, you can go the Microsoft route, as it's the most popular. All right, you can even go Linux or even Apple. Linux is in pretty high demand right now. Same with Apple and same with Microsoft. They've all got their own things. Microsoft's in demand right now, especially for Azure. If you want to go in Azure and start doing everything in Office 365, there's a big demand for that. But then, there's also a big demand in Linux, because a lot of systems run Linux, and being able to actually orchestrate large Linux environments. And then you've got Apple OS X. Apple's becoming more of a big deal, especially in school districts and medical places and things like that. A lot of people are using Apple, and so now we're having to use Jamf and other things that allow us to control these devices, but still make them authenticate with Windows. And so there's a lot of different things you can look into doing. All right, Microsoft route will likely give you more options, which are good to have when looking for a job. I'm going to let you know right now, most systems run Windows. All right, Windows Active Directory, Windows whatever. It's going to be Windows-based, most likely. Now, I'm not saying everything is, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like I was saying, there's still plenty out there looking for Linux. So a lot of it, though, will be Windows. As for the networking route, go CCNA, like it says right here. So your CCNA is your Cisco Certified Network Associates, and that's just your very basic getting your foot in the door. You can study for that. There's books online. There's plenty of content everywhere. You can take the test online, I believe, and pass it. And once you do, you basically should be able to get a very basic networking job once you get your CCNA without an issue, So basically, there's your ways to kind of get in, depending if you want to go field systems, information systems kind of route, get your CompTIA stuff. If you want to go the networking route, work your way towards, maybe CompTIA Net Plus, and then also start going your CCNA. But really, I'd probably go CCNA over anything. All right, do your best to have a skill set or certs that make you stick out. All right, this means look at what areas are hot and maybe get a cert, or get a cert combination that makes you stick out. Early in my career, so this guy, early in his career had an MC, SE, and Apple certs. That got him some solid opportunities. So those are things that you can look into, all right? You can go ahead and try to find things that are sticking out. One of the things like I was saying, AWS and Azure are sticking out big time right now. If you can get some certs in AWS and also get some certs in Azure, whew, man, you'd be very hot right now. Like that's I see everybody wanting that. And then the other thing is virtualization. So like right here, as for what's hot right now, this is always changing. Today it's virtualization, cloud security, and big data. And really, AWS certs, Azure certs, any type of Microsoft cert. I mean, you name it, and if it has to deal with the cloud or virtualization, it's worth getting. All right, right here, there's a PDF that you can go ahead and download. It's got a great rundown of certs that are out there. And as I was just saying, every cert has its worth, okay? The question is, what is it worth to you? If you have 2 years of experience and the jobs you're looking for are asking for MCSA and an A+, probably isn't much worth to you. However, on the flip side, if you're just getting started and having no experience and no other certs, then an A+ is probably very valuable for you. So like I was just saying, it all depends on what you're doing and what you already have. So you got to look at it, examine it. Don't be afraid to take a step back. All right, and kind of maybe take a different perspective on things and try to look at things differently. Really figure out what search you need to do or what really is going to, help you out. All right, let's go on down here. All right, so my suggestion to figure out what certs to get is to look at the job boards in your area and the jobs you want and go see what certs are asking for. All right, so basically just get on Indeed, start getting on places, look at what they're looking for, and maybe find something that interests you. If you've already got a passion in networking, you got a passion in development, you got a passion in systems, you got a passion in customer service, start building those and start looking into things of what you could do. All right, what types of jobs should I get? If you're just starting out, take any role you can get to gain experience, whether that's help desk, a knock, geek squad, or even starting your own computer business. Now, that's what I actually did. I actually ran my own MSP for about 3 years. Very small. I just mainly helped out mom and pop shops, basically anything that was like maybe 30 employees and less. I kind of helped out, go in, take care of the printers, install new setups, take care of their servers, replace drives, things like that. And that really helped me build up my confidence and kind of helped me understand the way of running a business, how to actually do things. Now, I'm not going to say I'm nowhere near a professional at it. Obviously, I went to go work for somebody else and stopped doing my own thing, mainly because I had a family. And to be honest, it's very hard to run your own thing. It takes a lot. It really does. And my hat goes off to those people that have run successful companies right now. It's not easy at all. That's something, and that's kind of why I'm over here where I'm at right now, is I'm trying to learn everything I can, because there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of great things to teach. So I just want to be in a position right now where I can try to kind of be a sponge and soak up everything I can. All right, so if you're still curious about what type of IT roles are out there, there's the Robert Half Salary Guide, which kind of has different descriptions, many positions, and what they pay. All right, so maybe you're kind of trying to figure out what's a position that you want to get with pay. But as I said before, I'm going to let you know right now, if you're in this for money, you're not going to go very far. Don't get me wrong, you're probably going to go a little bit, but it's not going to go as far as you'd like. All right. Once you have that base education, after you start getting some experience, it's time to decide what areas you want to take your IT career. Keep in mind, IT is huge. You can stay in desktop or go the system admin route. You can go to the networking route, security, like we were saying, and look at everything above. There's so many different ways. What you need to do, and I'm going to keep bringing this up, passion. Passion is very valuable, all right? It's a very valuable currency. So don't be afraid to find what you're passionate about and really attack it. Don't be afraid to just deep dive in. If you hit a wall, go on to something else, but your passion is what should really keep driving you, all right? And get certs in that area, right? Find things that you're passionate about, start getting certified. All right. Also keep your mind open to other IT roles. IT is constantly changing. As it said up above, things are constantly changing. We don't know, just because virtualization, AWS, Azure, and all that stuff is hot right now, we don't know if it's going to continue to be hot. It's going to constantly change. We're constantly evolving. It's constantly new code, new software, new hardware. Everything's changing. Welcome to technology. Hurry up and wait, right? All right, so that's one of the things. Keep your mind open. Things are changing, ways we do things. So there may be a role that you never thought you would do because maybe it changed, or maybe it's a new role that no one ever thought was actually going to happen, all right? So just really think about it. There's also roles in project management level positions in an organization. So you don't always have to be a tech. That's one of the things I always tell people. There's just not techs. Like there's purchasing, there's sales, there's account management, there's client management. There's so many things that need to be done on management level positions, not everything has to be done technically. And so a lot of people think, oh, I can't go work for an IT organization because I don't want to do technical. No, well, if you have a passion for IT and technology, you don't have to be the most technical. You may have a really good way to be able to handle people, or you may be good at project management. And you know what? That is fantastic because that's needed. All right, you may not have the best technical background, but you may be able to manage people or manage positions, or maybe you can manage and talk to vendors, all right, and implement and maintain like a great relationship with that vendor and to be able to make sure things happen. So don't just think because your technical knowledge isn't very broad that you can't get your way into IT, because there's so many other facets that are needed. All right, the point is to leverage your skills to find an IT role that suits you best. If you have marketing skills, you can have a great career as an IT, as a product manager or technical writer, for example. Have a law degree, look towards legal and compliance roles. See, like I was saying, just because you don't, you don't have, say, the best IT background doesn't mean you can't work in IT. All right, there's so many things. Like it says, if you've got really good marketing skills, business development skills, there's no reason you can't be a product manager or a technical writer. There's no reason you can't write documentation or write things out or be able to help market a new product or a new way of doing things. The point is to leverage your skills to find an IT role that suits you best. If you have I already read that. I'm sorry, guys. Note that increasingly these newer roles require soft skills, like being able to talk to customers or relate technical information to non-technical audience. Don't forget to build these skills up. So this goes all back to customer service. There's a big need right now for people being able, well, actually, this goes back to business analysts, actually, too, what I was talking about earlier. There's a big need for people right now to be able to actually translate what the IT guru is saying to the common layman. Not every CEO or C title or director title or management title is going to know every single thing or how it needs to be done or understand every single facet, because that's not their job. Their skill set and their specialization has gone elsewhere. That your job now is to translate that, or make sure that the IT people understand. So that, to me, that customer service skill and being able to actually translate and be able to talk, information between a technical and a non-technical audience is a big deal. So don't forget to train that skill. All right, there's no reason you can't. All right, let's scroll on down. All right, let's get in some of the nice meaty greedy here, the meatiness of this. What if I'm switching careers and want to get into IT late? No problem, go for it. All right, seriously, I know plenty of people that are in their 50s and 60s right now that are just starting in IT and doing IT, and there's nothing wrong with that. Do what you're passionate about. If you really truly enjoy it, there's no reason you can't do it. Age shouldn't be a factor, all right, at all. If you enjoy it and you're passionate about it, go do it. Get the experience, learn it, all right? And the thing is like it says, maybe you have a previous career, maybe you have previous skills that you can actually use to help you leverage that. A lot of people don't realize that, when you get in IT, maybe you were in logistics before. Well, logistics becomes a big deal in IT, when you got to have servers drop ship, UPSs, you got, 300 desktops that got to get sent over somewhere and then, cleaned up and imaged and all that stuff. That all comes in, maybe your logistics background will come in handy there. So don't be afraid that just because you didn't get in IT, 10 years ago or 12, 20 years ago, that you can't get into it now. You'd be surprised how many of the skills that you have today can be leveraged to make yourself even better, and especially even getting a career in IT. All right, so I will also add that many have observed significant age discrimination in IT. What this means is the older you get, you need to best position yourself for the future. If you're a system admin later in your career, they will get a system admin that's younger and cheaper. So make sure you're building your skills so you're employable. If you get laid off late in your career, moving to management roles or roles that allow you to make business money instead of doing a cost center may help those that are older. Now, the thing is, it's kind of like I was saying, hop over. It doesn't matter about your age, but it's sad because one of the things that is happening is people are discriminating for age, whether they're too young or whether they're too old. And to me, that it shouldn't be about that. It should be about passion. Like I said, your passion is a valuable currency. We should be able to take anybody in and have them do anything, and if they want it, we shouldn't. So it all just depends. Sorry if you find an employer that discriminates against you for your age. That sucks, but hopefully you can find something that works out for you. I really do. All right, so let's move on. How to find a job. So now you have certain skills and/or education. How do you find a job? All right. Well, first is all about the resume. Okay. Now over the last about 3 weeks, I've had probably like 30 resumes sent to me. Me and my wife actually, we've been slowly going over and going through and trying to help people out. And some of you guys I've gotten back to, some of you haven't. I apologize. We're working on them as fast as you can. Just remember that I work full-time job. She's here taking care of kids full-time, so we're trying to do everything we can. But the resume is the big deal. This is the tool that'll get you the interview, all right? That's like the invitation, all right? You're basically sending an invitation to the business saying, hey, can I get invited? You're asking for an invitation, I should say. You want to be there. You want to go and talk to them because you want to have a job with them. You want to be able to tell them about your experience, your certifications, your education, and get in there, all right? Let's go on down here. So this user right here, Noisy Maker, thank you. Do a shout out to. What recruiters look at in 6 seconds is an article that tracked eye movements of hiring managers and recruiters as they reviewed resumes. The information is very telling, and I can attest that I definitely make initial assessments about 10 seconds of looking at resumes. Is that fair to you? No. When I have 450 resumes queued up to review, I have something to do. So basically, you want to make sure that your resume is concise to the point and at quick glance convey who you are and why they want to hire you, all right? It should look pleasing to the eye and look like you spent time making it that way, all right? You don't want to just throw a notepad article to them, you want to make it all nice, have some nice lines in it, make it look good, make it look like you actually cared, throw some passion at it, all right? Don't be afraid to make it look good, and take some effort into it, all right? The whole thing is that if it looks terrible, why are they going to want to hire you? Because you're probably going to be terrible, all right? They have a link right here for the usually recommended for the resume, all right? This is more of a mid-level resume, but the format should be used for all levels. The one thing I would add is the technical experience section above professional experience that lists the things you have experience with in the following categories, all right? For recent graduates, here's another resume that should work, all right? So this is for like recent grads that are, getting out of college. So this is why I love Reddit. This is why I love the community, IT career questions communities, because they all come together. We all come together. We are able to do this, put up different, information and make sure that we're all able to work together and actually kind of build up and become what we all want to see each other be. I mean, I think we all have an idea or a vision of what we see ourselves being as an IT professional. It's really great being a part of these communities like IT Career Questions, our home servers, home labs. I mean, it's a really good feeling that everybody's just willing to grab this information, put it together, and help each other out to become something. All right, so let's move on down. My suggestion would be that once you put your resume together, post it in the subs or in our resumes for feedback. Your resume should be a living document that you always keep up to date. So if you have resume, feel free to send it to me, guys. I'm trying to do as much as I can. You can send it to me up here in Reddit. Me and my wife are trying to look over them as much as we can and send it back as we can. It may take us a little while. Like I said, there's a lot of them. All right. Let's move on. LinkedIn. If you don't have one, sign up. LinkedIn's important. Holy moly, that is a big deal. That is a big deal. The bigger your network, the bigger chance of finding a job. Also, these hiring managers typically look at your LinkedIn. So just so you know, your LinkedIn can have all the stuff from your resume. You can put, like for me, I have my YouTube on there. I have a lot of different information. And basically, if anybody wanted to look at anything, I just send them my LinkedIn. So like anytime, like I just recently at my current job, they were like, hey, can you send us like your background and stuff like that? So I had to send it over to one of the managers, and I just sent them my LinkedIn. I was like, here, just grab everything from there, because it's exactly the same as my resume. It's kind of like a digital resume in a way. So it's very good to get up on LinkedIn, make sure it's up to date, get a really nice picture of yourself up there. All right, get a nice background, get everything up to date, get your about, and also make sure don't just put like your title of what you do. Like to me, like I think that little quote that you put there about yourself really defines who you are and makes you stick out. So make sure you put something that really defines your passion or defines why you're doing what you do. Maybe it's like your mission statement, kind of for like a business, but it's more for yourself. All right. Where to look? All right, there are plenty of job sites these days. My favorite would probably be Indeed, all right, which aggregates jobs from many different sources. You can also set up very granular alerts for jobs as well. That way, if you're looking for a very specific role, you'll be alerted when one pops up. All right, so Indeed, that's actually where I found my current job. I've been here for 4 years almost now. Love it. What I would say is don't be afraid to get on Indeed and look around and look for things and just start applying. Once you get your resume done, that's basically all that's left. Apply. Don't be afraid to link your LinkedIn. Also, put your LinkedIn on your resume. Maybe really helps. But the biggest thing is just apply, and just keep applying. All right. Especially in the whole time you're applying, keep building your skills. Keep lab every day. All right. Where to look? Well, actually, we already talked about that. Sorry, I keep doing that. All right. What about recruiters? Recruiters are people who are paid by the hiring company to find candidates for them. And they get paid if you're hired and stay with the company for some set time. You should never be asked to pay for a recruiter yourself. If a recruiter asks for money, walk away. All right? Recruiters should never ask you for money. When do you want to look for a recruiter? In general, recruiters are a good resource to add to your job search toolbox. But they should be a small percent of your effort. Don't ever rely solely on a recruiter to get your job. They're usually the most helpful when you're looking for a senior level, technical, or management position. All right. For everyday jobs, recruiters will be sending your resume to the same job listings you can find yourself on LinkedIn and Indeed. These generally no secret list of job postings that only recruiters know about, and a company will always prefer to hire direct rather than through a recruiter if they can to avoid paying the recruitment fee. So why use them for senior positions? There are often times when a company wants to hire someone before they can let the current employee go, and in this case, they won't post a job publicly. This is one of the rare cases where a recruiter does have access to a job that no one else does, but these cases are pretty rare and generally limited to more critical, higher level positions. But keep in mind that you are what a recruiter is selling. They are not concerned whether they're making a good match to what you're looking for, what you can, or for what you can even do. They just want you to get placed wherever they can place you and then get paid. Be very critical of the places they submit your resume and be sure it's something you want to do. I signed a non-compete, but I want to get another job. What can I do? Let's be very clear what a non-compete is and is not. A non-compete is not a rule that you can't work for a company that does the same thing as your current company. A non-compete is a rule that you can't use insider knowledge, such as customer listings, knowledge of pricing, etc., to directly compete against your current company by stealing customers or directly harming their business. Specific rules differ from state to state, so you may have to look them up and read them carefully, but it almost never comes into play in the real world. If you're a director or have some strategic role, or if you leave your current company to start your own company doing the same thing, then you want to read what you signed very, very carefully and compare it against your local laws. You might even want to engage a lawyer. But by far the most common scenario, if you're an IT worker with no strategic role or direct reports and want to leave company A to work for company P that does the same thing, you really have nothing to worry about. All right, guys, so that's it. That's the whole wiki. I'm pretty happy. Took about an hour and 20 minutes basically to go through the whole wiki and kind of go over all these different things, and me also kind of put my own twist on it and say my own 2 cents, which I don't know how much that mattered, but, not too bad. So that's it, I think, for the day, guys. I just kind of wanted to really talk about this wiki, IT careers, getting into IT, what it can do for you, and some of the things to really think about. I really hope that this impacted anybody. I hope this helped out some people. And, feel free, guys, message me on, LinkedIn, message me on Reddit, message me on Twitter. Make sure you click follow on YouTube, click follow on Twitter. You guys, I try to, keep up to date as much as I can, and I'm happy to help out where I can. So until next time, guys, I'll see you guys in the lab.